Now, about 35 years ago, I was serving in the war. And before we went out to war, I remember making our own alcohol in the base.
Is this like the start of the episode?
And about 30 to 45 minutes ago, I beat the fuck out of my dick so goddamn hard.
Why are you talking like you're like a Civil War, like...
And my left leg has gone numb. My left leg
You're a
is
Civil
gone
War veteran.
completely numb.
Fuck this guy. Fuck Worm Dude.
So I just watched a documentary, would you call it? I don't think that's the proper term, but that's sort of what I can call it. By My Life in Gaming, who gets a free shout out because I think they're one of the best gaming channels on YouTube. And they talked all about playing games on original hardware and CRTs, and I know we had the whole loose CRT shenanigans thing, but I really do wonder if there's like...
This guy's beating my ass.
The biggest reason that I care to have a CRT, besides just for the fact of like old video games look best on it, is that, I mean, as far as I'm aware, there's no way to play light gun games on anything else besides a CRT.
Well, I'm kind of just...
Like, I'm like trying to like wonder of a way of how to word this. You know, it is a sad fact of life that CRTs are gonna die. Like, they will die. It's not like...
Is there no way to like just manufacture new ones? You think there's like...
I mean, you could, but nobody can do it. Not one person could do it. Like, it can't be a thing where like modding communities, like, you know, to make sure your old consoles are still working. Like, that's the thing of why I hate disc-based media, is because that's another thing. Like, much like how CRTs will die, disc-based media will die. Like, and of course all media will die, but, you know, CDs, we can expect, like, CDs, and, you know, we're still sort of learning with Blu-rays, but CDs and the lasers on CDs, we know to be able to live for 20 to 30 years. Just because that's how long some of them have lasted for us. And we know, like, cartridge mask ROM media used in stuff like the NES or old video game cartridges and stuff like that. We know that it'll last at least 40 to, I mean, with the Atari, a few more years down the road, it'll be 50 years. Like, we know that they have that long of a lifespan, and theoretically, barring...
Fuck this Snake guy! Oh my god! How many shots do I have to give to him?
Barring anything, like, going wrong within a pin or anything, like, I'm pretty sure Mask ROM can theoretically live forever. Which is why, like, NES cartridges and stuff still fucking work. And I wonder sometimes if, like, if there, because that's the biggest thing. If there was a way to play light gun games on a flat panel TV, then I wouldn't have to worry. But the fact, because I know Nintendo did a thing recently. It was quiet because it was on the Wii U, but they don't. They put a bunch of NES Zapper light gun games on the Wii U eShop that you can use with the Wii remote instead of having to use a Zapper, which I think it's really fucking cool that they did that. And like, nobody's talking about it.
Actually went out of their way.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they did it like...
He shot me with the shotgun!
I'm pretty sure they did it like within the last 2 years, which, I mean, you know, kind of makes sense, but that's still pretty fucking cool that they, like, decided, hey, this shit isn't gonna last, so, like, we'll give you a way to play this. Like, it might be emulation, and the NES emulator on the Wii U is not that great, but it's courteous enough that they decided, oh, that crunch is too crunchy. It's still courteous enough that they decided to do that. And, like, I was telling Sasha about this. The reason, just for anybody who doesn't know, the reason light guns don't work on a CRT, don't work on HD displays, and that includes HD CRTs, is that if I recall correctly, it's not a thing of, like, it's basically, they don't work on flat panel TVs because not all flat panel TVs are built the same. And it's not like all CRT tubes were built the same, but it's more like a facet of that's just how the medium works. That's why it works that way. It's not that, like, different tubes weren't built in different conditions or whatever. It's just that, like, every tube will work with a light gun. It's from my understanding, from my research of it.
Come on. Come on, Dark Souls guy.
And I think it's, you know, there is, I forget which theory it is, but they mentioned that in the documentary, you know, of, like, if you're constantly replacing the parts in something, is it even originally technically the same thing?
Fuck you! Fuck you! This guy kills me.
Harlock is coomed.
What do I do for me? God.
Which, you know, PlayStation 4, Xbox, and I'm pretty sure with the upcoming stuff, the discs and the lasers, and, you know, with Blu-ray, we still don't know yet how long it's gonna last, but obviously,
yeah, it's barely been around.
Obviously, they're disc-based media
is there a way
is
to,
built
like,
to improve.
speed up aging for disc to test it out? No.
There's no way to do it. You can't find it's not like a circumstance where you could do rapid aging, because there are so many factors that go into it that's why we can now determine, like, that's why we now have tips of, like, don't use fucking Brasso or fucking glass cleaner on your cartridges, use 99% alcohol.
The fuck is that? And if your cartridge is broken, just blow into the hole.
That is the worst thing you can do.
But everyone did it, though. And it worked. Why did that work? Just because you were blowing the dust out?
Probably, yeah. Literally, all you have to do to make a cartridge, like, usually...
What is the best medium?
Best medium? Like, in terms
Cartridge?
of game? Yeah, cartridge, of course. Because the cartridge won't fuck up.
I would say digital, but, like, because of how companies, you know, give out the digital license, it's like digital would be the best way if it wasn't
that's not the issue. Your console dies. What are you gonna do? Sure, now we have cloud storage, but, like,
back it up.
All those games die. If your console dies, all those games are gone. Let's say it's something like the PS3, the 360, or the Wii U. There's no proper way to back those games up.
But let's say if companies did allow that, in a way, like, they found a way to do it without, like the issue of privacy. I mean, not privacy, piracy.
Well, that's the issue. If you go to cloud-based medium, a cloud can be hacked. That's why digital media, to me, will never be able to take over from physical media. There are too many factors, and that's just my opinion as of now. Of course, everything could change. We obviously grow a lot fucking smarter, but there is not enough security in a digital medium to allow you to fully rely on it. That's why I'm surprised that they made this when Xbox made the 1S digital, or that when PlayStation announced that they're making an all-digital PS5, I was like, yeah, but, like, what if that guy, like, his PlayStation 5 dies, and, like, he has to buy now another console? What if your
But yeah,
what
so
if your
buy-
PlayStation 5 dies when it's like
Your
already
account gets hacked.
No, whenever your PlayStation 5 dies when it's already old hardware. You're not going to be able to buy one new. That's the issue. Digital media just right now isn't sustainable security-wise to be able to replace physical media.
But I mean, if you can't buy a PlayStation 5 new, then you're not going to be able to play the hardware either, right?
Well, that's the point. If all your games were digital on that PlayStation 5, and now that PlayStation 5, you can't buy one new, you're going to have to fucking...
I mean, you could just buy a used one.
Yes, but I'm talking about 10 years down the line.
I mean, yeah. But, like, it's stuff that's still connected to your hardware, and later on, like what Xbox is doing, like, you can play your Xbox One games. So it's, like, kind of, like, furthering the Xbox One's, like, lifespan, I guess. I guess that's a better way to go about it. Even though for, like, PlayStation 5, the PS4 stuff's emulation. Which sucks, but, you know, what are you gonna do? I think how Xbox going about it is, if they keep going that route with, like, let's say 5 consoles down the line, it still supports Xbox One games. Like, putting the disc in, then they figured it out, basically. As long as Microsoft stays being a company.
I mean, you know, Nintendo had it down with the Game Boy line. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
obviously,
like,
forwards compatibility is too complex to do compared to backwards compatibility. But I mean,
yeah.
You can play Game Boy games on a Game Boy Color, and you can play Game Boy and Game Boy Color games on a Game Boy Advance. You can play.
Having your console have backwards compatibility is just very important, and companies don't see that. And I mean, they're trying, but like, emulator's not the way. Like, I don't know, like, it's harder, like, that's why you gotta future-proof your current consoles. So it's like, that's what Xbox did, and like, they could easily, you know, get the Xbox One games on the Xbox Series X. Because they were thinking that way, yeah. And that's why, like, like the original Xbox and 360 games are backwards compatible, is because they didn't make those consoles in a way to, like, easily be like forward compatible or whatever. I don't know the correct stuff.
Isn't it that like, original Xbox games will still play on the Series X as well? Like some titles will.
I think all of them. I mean, all the ones that are already on Xbox One.
Yeah.
And you put in your disc. It's not actually playing off the disc.
It is emulation, but the fact that it supports them at all, it's pretty neat.
It's like the Xbox has a virtual console of its own, and they're actually, you know, putting on the newer consoles, unlike Nintendo.
The virtual console was such a good idea too. That's the part that bugged me about it when they said there wasn't going to be a virtual console on Switch, because I'm like, but why?
Like, all those games are just like, well, we have to wait until every other like month for an update that adds like 2 new games. That
if you don't have a Wii U, you have no way of playing a bunch of those games legally.
Or I mean, you can buy like used consoles and used games, but like,
yeah,
to actually like,
but
that was a way of giving money to like Nintendo.
That goes all the way back to my point about original hardware, is that like hardware breaks. Like replacing capacitors on a console is a hard thing to do, and it is a necessary evil, and I'm glad that there are so many people now who are offering the service to do it, and professionals. You know, don't get your console modded by some fuckhead on eBay who wants to do it for $5. Like, get your console professionally modded and stuff by people who actually are doing it for their best interest, not like just some jackasses who want to make a quick buck and do some horrible job. Like, I remember seeing like that job, and like I remember like that job seeing it from that documentary, and just knowing from like stuff before with consoles of like people using hot glue in fucking consoles to like attach their wires, and like just the
What are you
wiring,
gonna do when the console gets hot?
just wiring when just like the wiring of the mods and stuff would be horrible. It's just like, dude, preserving these machines is important. Like, we have a finite number of them. Like, obviously we can buy a fucking NES for $5, and you know, there's this whole thing recently, and it really sucks. It's the retro video game like market has been like really like fucked over lately. Like, a lot of people are selling stuff for a lot more money. Like, you could buy Super Mario,
especially during these times where people need the money.
You could buy Super Mario Duck Hunt for under $5. And now I think like some things on eBay are selling it for like $10, and it's like, dude, it's like one of the best selling video games of all time.
Boop. Cut his body in half. It's just, at this point, it's just in the people's hands, like how consoles, like how they treat their consoles, their retro consoles, and like try to find the like a Super Nintendo that or a regular NES that doesn't have the smoke tint to it. It's gonna be really hard. It's gonna be super expensive because of that.
You know, the thing about retrobriting consoles, you know what that is, right?
Is that just like fixing it, or like making it?
It's sort of like bleaching a console to restore it to the original plastic color. That's a very, very, very rough.
That's a dangerous thing to do.
That's a very rough. It's not. Yeah, it's sort of. That's a very rough explanation of what it is. But retrobriting consoles and computers is definitely a thing that works. But I mean, you know, the factor was, you know, if you're still gonna leave your console out in the sun, like, then what the fuck was the point of retrobriting it? You know, because that's like, the honestly, damage. Like, that's how consoles get yellowed. If you leave a computer out in the sun, and it's white, or if it's like, if it's white or if it's gray, or if it's any other color besides black, really, it's gonna yellow. Like, that's just how natural.
And also, like, if your parents smoke, and you're playing in the living room all the time where they're smoking.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Smoke is easier to.
That's
smoke
like that's not really in your.
Smoke is easier to remove than UV light is. Like, sometimes with smoke, it's as easy as just like using this very specific cleaner, but with stuff like if it's been yellowed by UV light from the sun, like, you have to bleach the console. Like, there's no other way to like make it the original color. Bang. Let me in.
What the fuck they want me to do here?
Jump from a high distance and smash it?
How do I get up there?
Maybe from the thing in the middle?
Boop. Boop. Here. And here.
Ah, fire pit.
Ah, hands. Hey, open up.
Let me in.
Let me in, sir. Let me in. Oh, hello.
I definitely appreciate the people.
Sorry for punching you.
I definitely appreciate the people who are doing their efforts with FPGA and stuff like that with consoles now, because, like, that's just. Oh, I see.
They actually care about video game history. They actually care about video games, and like, they want to preserve history.
I mean, you know,
and like,
that's what I don't understand
about the people that. Like, hating, like, you can, like, say, like, obviously emulation isn't going to be the exact same, but emulation is a good, like, it's a much easier way to preserve stuff than, like, it's less expensive, and, like, you need to have, like, a special, like, you need to have, like, extensive knowledge to, how many minutes are left in the episode? I need to pee.
We're done.
Let's just finish the.
I'm just waiting for you to finish the discussion.
Basically, like, I don't understand the people that say like emulation is piracy when it's literally like they're not like.
It's a gray area.
Giving you a viable
definitely a gray
way.
Area.
If the game is not like available to be bought, such as like the Scott Pilgrim game, which I heard they're gonna bring back. Like, the Scott Pilgrim, pirate it all you want. you can't get it now. There's no viable way of getting that game. You can't go get a PlayStation 3 and like buy it on the store. It's like you have to. It's like with PT as well. Like it's just.
Oh great.
If they're not supporting it, if they're not giving you a way to legally buy it, go ahead and fucking emulate it.
Certainly awkward.
If you want to feel better about it, go buy a used copy of like an old NES game to leave on your shelf so you can emulate
I can hear him now.
Alright.
I have no idea what Harry said, but fuck it.
I basically said to start the race war, and I said emulation good for preserving games, and if they're if the company that made the game or the people that own the rights to the game aren't giving you a viable way to buy it, then fuck it, emulate that shit. I don't care. Illegally obtain it.
What was that about the race war?
Huh? No, that was just a little. This was a little like, kind of like icebreaker, you know. There's nothing. It was nothing, you know.
Bro.
This is gonna be Harlock during the race war. That'd be sick. Being skewered. Alright, I'm gonna go pee pee.